Hey guys, Zane here with another One Take review, and today I wanted to talk about the new beabadoobee album, Beatopia. Beatopia is the sophomore studio album and the latest studio album from singer-slash-songwriter and indie pop singer beabadoobee. I like her music, but beabadoobee is one of the worst stage names ever conceived in not only the history of pop music, but just music in general, and this is coming from a guy that listens to the bands like the Psychedelic Porn Crumpets and the Butthole Surfers and the Peanut Butter Conspiracy Theory. I don't have high standards for names or anything like that. In fact, I actually like it when a band has a really dumb name or an artist has a really stupid stage name, but beabadoobee is just truly terrible. Does not roll off the tongue in any way possible, but I mean, the music's good, so whatever, I guess. This is her first studio album since she debuted with her first full-length album, Fake It Flowers, in 2020, which was a solid record, don't get me wrong, but it wasn't a super standout album either, especially not in the realm of pop music in that year, and it was an album that people kind of talked about for a bit, listened to, and then promptly forgot and never really spoke of again. But her follow-up to that record, Beatopia, is significantly more matured and overall just the record that I think most people, including myself, wanted her first outing to be. First things first, Beatopia has absolutely immaculate production. In fact, I would go as far as to say that this is one of the best produced pop albums of the past year or two. The sound of this record feels like a very polished and cleaned up version of your typical 90s alternative pop rock kind of stuff a la Tori Amos, for example, but with a modern day DIY kind of bedroom sort of style that you would more expect from this particular brand of alternative indie pop music. Production appearances from noted industry folks like, say, the 1975's Matt Healy, for example, are also pretty prominent, as well as their expertise and not exactly veteran, but close to veteran status within the industry definitely shows on the record and results in something that sounds sonically very pleasing. beabadoobee, whose real name is Beatrice Laus, which I will be using for the rest of this review just for the sake of me saying her name not taking up half of this video's runtime, is also a pretty strong vocalist as well. She has an excellent dream pop-like delivery that can easily be traced back to, again, those 90s influences such as Hope Sandoval from Mazzy Star, but at the same time, even with her influences being very obvious in terms of delivery and performance, she still is an engaging performer, and I think Laus is, out of all of the TikTok-era pop stars that have been considered, or I guess accused of being industry plants, one of the better performers overall, and definitely one of the few to actually keep an eye out for. And while her songwriting isn't brilliant or mind-blowing by any means, it's not bad either. I mean, the bittersweet nature of the record is definitely partially held up by her lyricism. This isn't James Joyce or William Faulkner or William Burroughs or anything like that. This is just a solid well-written, I should say, indie pop album from a somewhat still amateurish artist that's still maturing within her own particular realm and brand of pop music, and that's perfectly alright because the way she has things written here is strong enough for what needs to be done and accomplishes what it needs to do. Above all, Beatopia is a major improvement in terms of actual tone and, well, genuineness, basically. While Fake It Flowers was a solid listen, as I said before, it didn't totally grasp the concept of being purely heartfelt and nowhere near as truly emotionally gripping as it wanted to be, but Beatopia actually does. This record cranks all of the emotions that she wanted to deliver on her debut up to an 11, as she delivers some of the most heartfelt and emotionally honest performances in her career thus far. And I really think that while Laus could definitely do better in terms of actual performance work and do something a bit more unique, I guess, I also think that she's doing excellent here nonetheless. I mean, sure, songs like See You Soon are practically designed to appeal to a more generalized audience, which is respectable artistically, of course, but there's still a sense of emotional openness about the entirety of Beatopia that works towards the record's benefit overall in its overarching themes of bittersweetness, as well as for the individual tracks here as well, which results in something that is actually significantly more moving than you would really expect it to be, especially in comparison to its predecessor. The only major flaw that I can really point out here is that it does begin to lose my attention after a while. Some of the final tracks on the album, such as Tinkerbell is Overrated, are solid on their own, don't get me wrong, but within the context of the album, they seem to just kind of lose a bit of steam. This could primarily be attributed to the fact that the record does begin to sort of repeat itself in terms of song progressions and themes. While Beatopia is certainly not meant to be some sort of grand multi-suite epic of any proportion, I still do think that a little bit of variety would have done it some good in terms of overall consistency. However, cherry-picking these songs into isolation manages to ensure that they are solid cuts nonetheless, and manage to stand up next to the major highlights like 1036, which generally rely on the first half of the album, if I'm being totally honest. And plus, the album closing track You're Here, That's the Thing, is one of Lauz's best songs overall, so things on a positive note, and I can't really complain all too much. So overall, Beatopia is more than just a slight improvement upon everything that was initially presented by beabadoobee on Fake It Flowers. It's a major improvement. I'm going to give this album 4 stars out of 5. My one take on this album is that Beatopia is a major step up for the beabadoobee project as a whole, as everything from the emotional honesty and performance work to the production is just such a major improvement over what was previously presented by the artist in question, and it ultimately results in one of the more engaging pop records of the year thus far. So again, 4 stars out of 5, and with that being said, that's the end of this review, and I'll see you guys in the next one.